In this video, I'm going to show you how to match the frequency of the reality you want to experience. This is an accumulation of that, of Joe Dispenza's teachings, Neville Goddard's teachings, other consciousness teachers. It can really be boiled down into a very simple premise, and that is that the reality you want to experience already exists. You don't have to create it. You simply have to match to it energetically. And there's a few concepts in this video that will completely transform the way you go about the process. It's what allowed me to go from working a 9-to-5 job I did not enjoy of selling women's shoes to doing what I love on YouTube. It is what allowed me to shift my inner self-image so that it is natural for me to experience it, because it's where a lot of people block themselves. So they put it on a pedestal. They create vibrational resistance from it because their identity is not equal to that reality. So they stay blocked in familiar patterns of the past. They stay locked in the thinking of survival. So in this video, what I want to do is show you how to practically raise your dominant vibration and match the frequency of the reality you want to experience that already exists. I'm going to show you how to create inside-out transformation, how to feel it as if it's already here. I'm going to show you how to shift the inner self-image and how to make it natural vibrationally so that you can finally create a new external reality in your life. Now, the first point of this whole entire process is understanding that what you really want and what you put your goal out for, you think it is the thing that you are thinking of. You think it is the external thing in your reality, when in fact, a huge epiphany is understanding that that thing that you want on the external, you want because of an internal feeling it will give you. So rather than it being the thing on the external that if you had, you'd feel a certain way, it's understanding that that feeling already exists inside of yourself. So when you think of this as well, think of it as a form of a radio dial. If you have a radio station, understand that if you have a radio in general and you put it to 107 FM, that station already exists. The radio frequencies are bouncing around everywhere. The key is not to create it. You don't have to create that radio station. You want to tune to it. And because it already exists, it's about matching the energetic frequency of it. So when you think of the ideal version of you, that has that of the love in your life you want to experience, that has that of the abundance you want to experience in your life, it already exists. It's about energetically tuning to it using your frequency. Now, back in 2019, 2017, when I was first making the jump from working a 9-to-5 job to doing what I love, there was an energetic shift that happened where what I did is I had to embody the frequency of that reality now. So in 2017, I started to make videos every single day on YouTube. I started thinking, feeling, and acting equal to that version of me. And what happened is then the external began to reflect that internal change that I made. See, most people chase the thing, they chase the external thing, not knowing that it's first an internal job. So once I began to embody the thought patterns, the emotions, and that of the actions of that future me, I began to become it. Now, another thing that it was like a download, I guess you could say, was that I, in a way, connected to that future version of me and realized, and almost there was a message, if you make a video a day on YouTube, your life will transform. So I committed to that process. And that, in almost like that higher self, that future self version of me, in an interesting way, it did kind of already exist to be giving me that information. I'm watching a show right now, it's called Lost. It's an old show from like the early 2000s. But there's all this time warping and affecting the future and the past. But ultimately, there's no real lesson in that. I'm just saying it. It reminds me though, it's like it already exists. It's about energetically tuning to that reality using what is called your imagination. Your imagination, in a way, is a gateway to the divine. And when you can use your imagination to embody certain characteristics, certain energies, and certain emotions, and certain actions, which is also a pattern, by the way, you will begin to see that the external reality changes in proportion to the amount that your internal reality begins to shift. So one of the first lessons of this entire process is understanding that what you want to experience already exists. All you have to do is use your imagination to connect to it and then embody the thoughts, the feelings, and the emotions of that version of you. You must be the one to give yourself permission to be it, because no one else is going to give it to you. People only reflect it to you once you've completely embodied it. It's an interesting dynamic because it's like you want, back in the day, I wanted someone like Tony Robbins or Joe Dispenza or somebody that was doing what I wanted to do to tell me, Aaron, just go for it. Just go for it. You're worthy. You can do it. Waiting for permission. But you have to be the one to give yourself permission. And even after you give yourself permission and you start to create momentum, there'll be an adjustment period where people still may kind of doubt you. But you have to hold your frame. You have to understand that it's not about the external, it's about who you choose to be. And choosing to be it because it's who you choose to be, not because of what the result will get you. So the first part of this process is understanding that what you want, you think is out there, but what you really want is in here. It's inside of you. It's an emotion. So now the next part of this process, one that I think is one of the most important, powerful things you can possibly do, is to, instead of thinking of what you want on the external, whether it's a relationship, more money, whatever it is, understand and be able to become aware of what you want on the external. What is the internal emotion you want to feel? So for example, if it's a relationship that you want, most likely, what is the emotion from that you want to feel? It might be love. It might be connection. It might be the security of a relationship. What is that dominant emotion for you? And then what you recognize, once you've labeled it, identified it, you recognize that that emotion exists inside of you right now. You were just given a rule in your mind that said, once I have this external thing on the outside, then I could finally feel that on the inside. When in fact, the emotion already exists inside of you. So when people are going out searching for external validation, searching for external things in their life, what they're doing is they are looking for something on the outside that the outside can't actually give them. And even if it did give it to them, it would be cloaked as giving it to them because there'd be a rule in the mind that says, once I get X, Y, or Z, then I can feel a certain way. So people act in accordance to how they want you to act, and then you give yourself permission to feel the emotion that's already inside of you. So if you really want to, this is why it's about inside-out transformation rather than trying to change something on the external to then feel different on the internal. Because the internal is what gets the reflection on the external, so the key is giving yourself more permission to feel whatever it is you want to create in your life. So understand, the emotion becomes before what you can perceive of. Because when you're in different states of consciousness, you perceive of literally different realities. Literally. Have you ever experienced this, by the way, where when you're feeling really good, you tend to interact with certain people. You tend to call certain people, or people just call you naturally when you're feeling really good. And when you're feeling not good at all, you always end up running into similar situations, similar synchronicities, similar people. What happens is, due to the energy, the vibrational resonance of you attract from that, you perceive from that of realities that are equal to that level of consciousness. This is why it's very important to look at how you feel and your state. For a while, I overlooked this. Like, I'd hear Tony Robbins talk about it, talking about like change your state. And I think it seems so surface level to me. I didn't understand it. I understood it, but I thought it was just like a superficial thing that was very often overlooked. And then you go to like one of his live events and everyone's like jumping up and down. It's all this crazy energy. And it's like, but I understand now that when you are in a certain state of consciousness, you literally perceive of different variables in reality due to that energetic state. So when you get into certain states, you perceive of new opportunities, new possibilities. You are more magnetic. You make different connections with different people. Your energy's more open. Your heart's more open. But this is about that inside-out transformation of understanding whatever it is you want on the external, you want because of an internal emotion you want to feel, but the recognition that that internal emotion you want to feel, you can give yourself permission to feel it right now. Like if I were to tell you right now, or if somebody were to tell you, or they were to like prank you, and you were to think that, for example, if you really wanted money or something, you wanted to like, you won the lottery, right? Someone's like, you won the lottery. Congratulations. And there's this whole play enacted so that you really feel like you won the lottery. And then you'd be, oh my God, I won the lottery. You may feel incredible, oh, so blissful. No, even if you were having a really bad day, all of a sudden you feel so high, so good. But then, after the peak of you feeling this really high vibrational emotions and feeling so good, say, just a joke. You'd be so pissed. All your friends were in on it or something. What you were just able to feel so blissful and so good, like all your problems were solved, which by the way, they wouldn't be solved, all the problems. Because what happens is then you get used to that new level of dopamine and there's always a craving for more. There's always a craving, and there's going to be a feeling of not feeling fulfilled, especially if it's not connected to something, your heart, and something like a larger purpose or a larger vision. So you wouldn't be happy anyways. That's why most people that win the lottery get depressed, addicted to drugs, and crazy stuff happens. But nonetheless, the emotions already existed inside of your body. You just said one thing, you believed it, so and then said the other thing, and you believed it, so I didn't win the lottery. The emotions are still inside there. So the key to creating your dream reality is understanding that the emotions already exist inside of you, and the key is allowing yourself to focus on feeling those emotions more now with where are those things already in your life. So for example, if you want a relationship, for example, what you can do is focus on the emotions you'd want from the relationship. Maybe it's connection, maybe it's security, maybe it's love, and then focus on that with your dog or your cat. Focus on that with a family member or friend. It doesn't have to be just that emotion is through a romantic partner. You can focus on where that is already in your life, and just through feeling gratitude for where it already is, you will be in a different vibrational state where you will then perceive of more things in your life that are similar to that. So one of the main parts of this is understanding that what you want already exists inside. And when I was doing this on YouTube back in the day, I would focus when I wasn't on work on the freedom that I had to eat the food I wanted to eat, the freedom I had to make the videos I wanted to make. On my lunch break, I would do that. I'd focus more on the freedom because the emotion already existed inside of me. So you can do this, and it's a very powerful permission slip towards resonating with that reality. Now, the next step is something I learned from a book called Reality Transurfing. I normally don't talk about the book because for some reason they don't want me talking about the book or promoting it in any way whatsoever. The whole thing, it's a whole story. If you know, you know, and if you don't, it doesn't matter. But anyways, there's this book written by a Russian quantum physicist, and part of here I am talking about it, but there's this one idea from it, and it has to do with lessening the degree of importance you give to things. Now, the way that I use this, the idea is that anything you put on a pedestal, you create resistance towards. And that resistance is then saying that the reality you want to experience is not equal to your identity. This is why many people also sabotage certain things they want to create in their life. Because they say, oh, it'd be so cool if I experienced that. It'd be so amazing. Oh my God, it's up there on a pedestal, which then vibrationally is sending a signal that says, this is not equal for my identity. This is not equal for my identity. This is not equal for my identity. And instead, what you want to become aware of is that by the time you achieve your quote unquote external goals, it will feel natural for you. You want to make it natural, not on a pedestal. And this includes decreasing the level of importance you give to it. Now, understand, you already have the emotions inside of you anyways. So it's not really important whether that external thing shifts anyways, because you can choose to feel those emotions now through focus. I was talking to someone, a friend yesterday about this, and she was telling me that she had met all these, she was telling me these cool stories of when she met certain famous people. And one of them was Elon Musk. And what I thought was interesting about it is she said her energy about it, though, is that when she meets people like this, she says she's just very nonchalant. She says it's just like, she just kind of like is herself authentically, and she's nonchalant about it, and it's like not a big deal to her. And because of that, she's met many people in this kind of field like it. And I was telling her, I was saying, you know, what's interesting about that is if you meet people that are celebrities, people that have a certain level of success and people treat them a certain way, they put them on a pedestal, and there's a saying that if you treat someone like a celebrity, they will treat you like a fan. And what happens, and even from my own experience of meeting people that are very well known, when you talk to them like a normal person, they appreciate it, and then they can actually connect with you. They cannot connect with you if you talk to them like they're a celebrity, because it's a weird energy dynamic. And even for myself, I'm not a celebrity necessarily, but when I meet people in public, it's interesting energy. I can feel the difference in the energy when people are meeting me and just want to say hi, or they're like their energy isn't like they need something from me, they want something from me. They just want to share and say what up. It's like really nice and very pleasant. But then sometimes people come up to me like, Aaron, I have a message for you. I can't believe I'm meeting you. This is what I think, and this is, and then it's like this, and it's just a different energy. Normally it's the first one. Normally people are just really cool. I'm just saying, I can see the difference in the energy. So the reason I'm sharing this with you, though, is you want to think of it like when you shift your inner self-image. And by the way, I have a new free course in High Vibe Tribe. It's called High Vibe 101. It's like 8 hours of content of me showing you step by step how to completely transform your life from the inside out, using the power of meditation, forgiveness, changing your beliefs about reality, and self-image is another core pillar. It's completely free. You can go ahead and join it by going to aarondoughty.com/highvibetribe or click the link below. And I'm going to be doing breath work in there very soon, which I'm very excited about. But anyways, your inner self-image, when you look at your inner self-image and understanding that whatever is natural for that self-image is how you are thinking, feeling, and acting. So what you want to do is become aware of what your self-image is. And as you become aware of what your self-image is, you can then allow it to be natural for you. When I first learned about this topic as well, I remember I wanted to get this house. This is an older story. I wanted to get this house when I was in Vegas, and it was when the housing market was starting to boom. And there were literally like 9 applications on this house that I applied for. And I did a couple things. One, it was another reality transferring thing where I basically wrote a letter to the people that owned the house, telling them how excited I was to live there and how I'd take good care of it, and how, you know, I work from home and it's important for me to have like a nice house. It's called tapping into someone else's inner intention. Their inner intention was for them to have like a house that's clean, no partiers, paid month, you know, rent paid every month. So what I did is I tapped into that. That's one aspect. That's a whole nother video probably. But the other aspect is what I would do is at night when I was going to bed at the house I was living in, I would imagine myself as I was falling asleep, which is a whole nother manifestation technique as well, the subconscious window that you have before you go to bed. What I would do is I would imagine myself in that house, in my daily routine. It was natural for me. I was getting up, I was making videos, I had the camera set up in the corner where the lighting was. I knew that the lighting was good. I would have the 3 things I was going to talk about in the video on my iPad right next to it. And it was like I would go through my daily routine as if it was natural as I was going to bed at night. And then interestingly enough, after a week of waiting to get approved for that house, I finally got the call, and out of 9 people, they chose me. And at that time, I thought that's a technique that I've used in a few different ways, but more than even a technique, it's what is your inner self-image? You are thinking, feeling, and acting equal to a certain identity, a certain way of being. Now, the challenge is that most people are addicted to familiar. They're fighting for familiar. So if you believe you're not worthy, if you believe you're never chosen, I may have not experienced that if that belief was activated inside of myself. The key is becoming aware of your thoughts, your beliefs, and your actions and how that influences your energy. So understand that your inner self-image is controlling your life experiences, and if you really want to match the frequency of the reality you want, you have to give yourself permission to be it. You have to feel the emotions before it's in your reality, knowing the emotions already exist in your body, and you have to link up your inner self-image so that it is equal to what you want to experience, and you want to make it natural. Natural. It's natural for you to be in a healthy relationship. It's natural for you to be abundant. It's natural for you to be adding value to other people. Now, the third part of this process of matching the frequency of the reality you want is something that took me years to learn, but it is one that has to do with understanding shifting your frequency. So towards the lower vibrational emotions like shame, fear, guilt, anger, there's a lot of attachment to thinking. When you can learn to observe your thoughts rather than react to your thoughts, you create more space in between your thoughts. And when you create more space in between your thoughts, you're actually having less thoughts. Now, when you're having less thoughts, your frequency begins to raise. Because think about it. When you've been in the most loving situations in your life, you're feeling love, joy, or peace, what are you thinking about in those moments? You're probably thinking of nothing. Nothing at all. You'd be like, I was appreciating the moment. I felt gratitude. Understand that raising your frequency is really about thinking less thoughts. This is why I recommend a meditation practice every single day to create space between thinking and thoughts, because they're two different things. I've been talking about this a lot on YouTube recently, so I'm sorry if it sounds repetitive, but thinking is a verb, thoughts are a noun. When you believe you are your thoughts, when you believe you are your emotions, you're identified and you're attached. And desire and attachment is the root of all suffering, and even further than that, thinking is the root of all suffering. Thinking is what separates you from God. Thinking is a survival mechanism that our ego uses to survive. But in fact, when you're doing things and you're in a flow, you don't need to think. Like when I make this video right now, I'm not thinking about the next thing I'm going to say. I'm in a flow state. Many people, when they're artists, other people, everyone has the ability to tap into a flow state. In a flow state, that's a higher vibration than thinking and trying to figure things out from the ego's perspective, because thinking is a survival mechanism that the ego uses to stay in familial patterns. So the key to this is, do you want to identify with thinking and survive? Or do you want to thrive by getting into a flow state? So what is around your energetic field? This is something else you want to ask yourself. There's a whole vibrational detox you do in that of High Vibe 101 as well, where I help you become aware of the different triggers in your life that put you on this pattern of basically being stuck in certain thought loops. When you watch Netflix shows, when you're scrolling on social media or doom scrolling, when you're around certain people that lower your frequency because you match their frequency, and maybe they're a reflection of an energy unconscious inside of yourself. Basically, becoming aware of who you surround yourself with, becoming aware of the energy that you're embodying, becoming aware of the thoughts that you're consistently having, the social media you're looking at. This all fuels your energetic thought field around your body. And then you meet people that are in alignment with that. Different situations, different circumstances. So the power here is when you learn how to become aware of what's keeping certain energies activated in your field. And then you can there's two things you can do. You can either eliminate it from your life, or you can change how you think about that thing. Either of those will shift the energy. But understand that the energetic field that you have around your body, what you want to do is create more space for inspiration to come through rather than the ego trying to survive and trying to create from desperation. Inspiration comes when you are in alignment and you are creating more space inside of yourself. So matching the frequency of the reality you want is about cleaning up energy and letting go of the past. It's about changing your inner self-image and making it natural for you to be experiencing what you want to experience. It's about understanding that the emotions already exist inside of you, and your main goal and intention is to feel those emotions by giving yourself more permission to feel them more often. And then a whole other video I'll make, let me know if you want to make this, but really it's a very simple manifestation practice of when you go to bed at night. Using the subconscious window of when you're falling asleep to influence your subconscious mind. Because your subconscious mind controls most of your life experience. And when you're going to sleep at night, you're drifting from beta to alpha to theta state for 30 minutes. And then when you wake up for about 30 minutes, you're waking up through those stages. So feeling the emotion of what you want to create at night is a huge hack to reality. And I'm going to put a whole guided meditation in High Vibe 101 as well soon. So if you want to check that out, you can click the link below. And understand that what you want already exists. All you have to do is match it.